Good morning. I say morning. It's definitely not morning. It's 1:15. I hate starting a vlog this late, but today is a Monday, and oh my word. We definitely had some rain last night. Now the good news is, I think, hopefully, I fixed the audio issue on my phone. Like yesterday's vlog, watching back through it, just made me want to like pull my ears off. It's so frustrating. I've been Googling it and trying to figure it out because I was like, it's got to be a simple solution. I don't think it is mud in the microphone, though it would make sense, but I don't think it was. And I found a setting on the settings. I don't even remember turning it off though, but I found this video which basically explained that if you turn off stereo sound on your phone, it fixes it. So I'm hoping, I've done a few test runs, and every test that I've done, it seems to have worked, but whether or not I'm gonna end up looking back at this and go, didn't work. I think I'm still gonna take the plunge and get the new iPhone anyway and put that order in. But in the meantime, I think hopefully this is the solution. If not, I have got a backup idea that I may be able to sort out. I could obviously switch to the Osmo, which is a great camera, and I love that footage from the other day as well, from Saturday's vlog, or Saturday's, the vlog of Saturday. But it's just the quickness of the iPhone is unbeaten. I'll be able to get shots super quick. But I have got another backup option, which actually could end up being the best option, but does involve me having to get a certain part to fix what I'm trying to achieve. Anyway, I need to stop boring you with this kind of information. But enough of the good news. Let's now go on to the bad news. Because I've started my vlog so late, we've missed out on the dove content. Still no sign of the dove. Even this morning, no doves at all, which I'm starting to get a bit worried. I hope they're all right.
No doves. Hello.
And in other bad news, I seem to have acquired a pond. Actually, scrap that. I've just watched it back and it's still broken. So we're gonna resort to a different plan. We're gonna have to just switch it up. I cannot use this phone for any more vlogging, for my sake and for yours. Let's switch it out. So I'm switching back to this. I'm gonna use this hopefully for the rest of whatever this vlog is gonna be, because like I said, it's Mondays for me are probably gonna be the hardest days I think on this month to vlog. So for you, it goes out on a Tuesday. So there's no going forward. If there's any vlog to probably skip, it's probably none of them. Don't skip my videos, ever. Stay there and watch all of them, one after the other. You're feeling very sleepy. No, I'm joking. Yes, Mondays, because Mondays is where my inbox goes crazy. I've got a lot of stuff to catch up on, things to sort out. So then it gives me a sort of a clear week for the rest of the week, or clearish. And today is primarily, hence why I've started this vlog so late. Today is a day where I usually work on all things MVE and Final Straw Productions. And Final Straw Productions today is non-stop. I've got a lot of things I have to deliver. So I'm working on this, it's kind of like a drawing. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to jinx anything, but like I mentioned before, we did this run through for a potential Saturday night kind of entertainment game show for like the whole family to get involved. Like one of those ones that brings the family together, gets them all playing along on the sofa. We did the run through and it didn't go awfully, which, I mean, I think actually from looking at it, I think it went really, really well. I know in this game it's very difficult to know. People can say they love it, but then when they think about it, sometimes it doesn't go that way, or they change their mind, or things like that. So we're trying to strike whilst the iron's hot. We had one comment straight away afterwards, a very, very easy thing to sort of tweak and change from the commissioner. We made those tweaks a couple of weeks ago, but now we are just making a sizzle to send to the other commissioners that didn't get to come along to the run through. And just so that the commissioners that were there have it as well to hand, so it can sort of remind them about how great our Saturday night TV show is. So I am doing a lot of arts and crafty bits to try and get certain things that we need for this sizzle. So it involves me just sat on my iPad for what I have been doing since I woke up this morning. So yeah, I am slightly worried and concerned that it's going to be a bit of a short vlog today, which some of you may actually prefer. I know that a lot of you like the longer vlogs. You know, this one's for you guys that like the shorter vlogs, hopefully. We'll see how the day goes. But today is very much sat inside in front of the iPad, just trying to bosh out all this stuff. So it just makes the rest of my week a bit more YouTube focused. In saying that though, I am going to get out of the house now and go and get some lunch. Thought about for a second about doing a pizza for lunch, but I think I'll wait and hope that it doesn't rain later on and finally do my pizza for dinner. Go out and get some lunch. And whilst I'm out, I might also get the car clean. I mean, I probably should. Let's get the car cleaned. Take it all in. The before and after.
Dirty wheels.
And the thing is, it's all coming off and like landing on this floor here, which is not ideal. The driver's side is the worst side as well. Look at that. Ooh. Look at that. It's like our toilet in the morning on that very rare occasion that I have a coffee. Is that a bit too much information? Probably. I'm at the car wash. Driving in, obviously, so I couldn't film it, but I wish I could have filmed the guy's face when he saw my car turn up. He looked slightly concerned, and he's still looking concerned. I've just seen a sign saying, dirty cars may incur a wash surcharge, which makes sense. Yeah. I did wonder why he's charging me a little bit more. Normally, for an extra large car, which mine is £15, but he's charged me, he said 20 quid. 20 quid to get this from what it looked like before to hopefully how it was before I went to Tom's. That's an absolute bargain. Dirty cars may incur a wash surcharge, e.g. if your car is covered in dried mud or has pet hair. I don't have any pet hair, but I do have a metal detector. Does that count? Like, I probably get charged more for having a metal detector in my car. Being a little nerd. A nerd surcharge. Dirty car surcharge and a nerd surcharge. It's going to cost me an arm and a leg. It's something weird about having your car cleaned whilst you're still sat inside it. It makes you feel a bit weird. I don't know what the feeling is. Especially when they open the door to like clean inside and you're still sort of sat there with your belt on, looking like a lemon. Go easy on her. She's had a rough couple of days. Oh, that's cool. I can actually see them cleaning my car on the cameras. It's like a changed car. Brand spanking. Look, you can even see my bike in the reflection. You genuinely couldn't see that before. Alloys back, and to be honest, what's that? Is that scratches? Ooh, I think there's like a little bit now of like wear and tear on the alloys, which is a bit of a shame. I don't know what that's from, because I didn't scratch them at all. But it's more like where it's tiny, probably tiny bits of dirt that has just done that. And then for the big boy scratch, not too noticeable, you know. I genuinely think if I get my mate, who's a car detailer, to come out here, I reckon he could make this look brand spanking new again. I am starting to think that it had like slightly more character when it was covered in mud. So I do think it won't be too much longer before I book myself in to go back up to see Tom and get that Defender nice and muddy again. Because you know what, after that, I was like, actually, the car, I can't be worried about scratching a car. Because the thing is, if you constantly worry about scratching something or damaging something, you're worrying too much and you won't actually enjoy the thing that you have. The fun that I had doing the off-roading was worth the slight, tiny damage that I've done to my car. So I'm all for it. I want to do more 4x4 and off-roading. If that's something that you'd want to see, potentially me and Tom go on like an off-roading adventure, maybe abroad somewhere, I don't know, but somewhere where we properly track it off-road and get ourselves into all kinds of sticky situations, let me know in the comments below of where's good to go as well. Which country is good to travel to, ideally somewhere in Europe because we want to drive there. So, I don't know, France, Spain, but the idea of doing an actual off-roading trip, I'm open to it. Tom, let's talk. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, as you can probably see, it's getting dark, which means this has been not much of a vlog. And I did think this might happen. As I've mentioned before, I did think Mondays are always going to be a tough, difficult day. However, on one positive note, I have got something actually I want to talk about later on anyway, which will be the title and the thumbnail of this vlog anyway. So if you're waiting for that bit, probably skip ahead. If you want to see me make a pizza, stick around. Because it stopped raining! It stopped raining. Now, as it is cold, that's gonna take a while to heat up. So in the meantime, whilst that does heat, I'm gonna sort my ingredients out. Obviously, got my dough. I'm gonna go with, I had this pizza when I was in Sicily, which was unreal, but I'm missing one of the key ingredients, but I'm hoping it won't matter too much. I'm gonna go with a tomato base, then I've got this mortadella, and I rip mortadella and put it all over it, and then just one big old burrata plonked in the middle. That's the plan. Although last time the pizza that I had that on was massive, so I might go like half a burrata. But the missing ingredient from making the ultimate pizza is like a pistachio like drizzle. No, it's more like a sauce, like a pistachio sauce that you sprinkle over it, which I don't have. I've only ever seen it actually in Sicily. It's quite hard to get a hold of over here. I'm sure that there's places that do sell it. So instead of that, I think I'm gonna drizzle Joe's hot honey. That is my pizza combo for today. Let's just hope and pray that it gets in and out without falling apart or going wrong like it has the previous 3 times that I've used it. I'm really hoping that this works. My main issue is that the dough gets stuck to this thing. So I've got this special like pizza spelt? Pizza peel dust it's called. So it's specially for getting this dough off this metal thing into the oven and out again without causing too much of a issue. Squidge it like this. Give it the big one. Stretch out my dough like so. Oh, I've got a good feeling about this. I've got a very good feeling. I've got a feeling it's gonna really work, but I've got to act quick. Tomato sauce. Sorry for lighting's rubbish. Spoon. Dollop on. Maybe a little bit more if you're feeling spicy. And you do this with your spoon. I mean, it's a pizza. You know how to do it. I don't need to tell you. You know exactly what to do. I haven't got nails. And just literally just chuck it on like this. I know you're probably looking at it thinking, Joe, this looks crazy. What are you doing? Don't worry. I'm thinking the same thing too. We take our burrata. We're going to take the burrata and just, it's too much burrata. I'm going to chop it down the middle. Oh no, I've really balls this up. One half of it, just dollop on there in the middle. I've really balls this up. And just like that, all over. Looks a bit gross. Pizza is as ready as it's going to be. Fingers crossed, it just goes in, slides straight off. Go on, yes. Oh my God, that's the best one I've done so far. Oh, I'm happy with that. That's actually turned out so good. But the burrata should have probably gone on after I put it in though. Turn the flames right down, cooks the base, but doesn't burn the top. That's the plan. Oh, look at that. I mean, that looks gross, but in a good way. Oh no, it's still not cooked. There, look. That's still doughy. Oh, what a shame. But I'm still getting used to it. It does taste good though. It does taste very nice. It tastes nice and it smells. I turn it all down, the flames and stuff, so it's not on as high when I'm cooking the top. So hopefully, I know you've got to get the stones as hot as possible. But because it's outside, and obviously it's night time, it's cold outside, it's just not, the gas is not getting it to the right temperature to really heat up that stone enough that it cooks the base as well as the top. So it's not my best creation as of yet, but it's still early days. I'm working on it. We will get there eventually. Oh no. Oh, it's raining. And I've not put the cover on the pizza oven. Cover on, but it's not the pizza oven I'm that worried about. It's my bloody sinkhole / pond / potential hot tub. Can get the water warm enough. Oh, it feels like I'm doing like a main channel video sat down like this. Hi everyone and welcome back to another Sug Sunday special. Woo! Now this is something that gets requested quite a lot for me to talk about. I did tease it for ages saying that I was going to talk about this at some point. And as it's been a bit of a shocker of a vlogging day for me, I thought what a perfect time to finally tell you about the story about my heritage, ancestry journey that I did a few years ago on a show called, I was about to say Would I Lie to You? Very, very different show. Who Do You Think You Are? Now, if you haven't seen my episode of Who Do You Think You Are, I highly suggest you do go and watch it. There's people that are really into people's family history and stories and stuff. Yeah, it's one of those shows. I know a lot of people out there do enjoy watching this show. When you do take part in the show, they give you this folder afterwards, which is all the stuff that they managed to find out about your family. And honestly, I have in here the biggest family tree that I had no idea on both sides of my family, which is super interesting. And they've even put these things in there, like what are these things called? Like the separators, the folder separators for different, I was gonna say timelines, or technically different timelines, different family members and different, like one of these in the family tree. Even if they look into your family and can't find enough sort of things that make good points throughout the show, they still give you the folder of what they could find. And got given this folder, this is probably one of my most prized possessions, I think. Out of everything that I've ever owned or had in my life, this is something that will, without doubt, get passed down through generations and generations and generations to come. I shall also put in there like a little link to my YouTube channel. So then in like 100 years time, they can at the back go and also check out Thatch Joe Vlogs on YouTube. But by then they're probably going, what's YouTube? But anyway, I'm gonna keep this sort of relatively quick because I think I could talk about this for hours, I feel like, because it is late and I want to get up early tomorrow so I can start my day and hopefully do a better vlog than this one's been. So if you haven't watched my episode and you don't want spoilers, like my life's a movie, then I suggest you block your ears or something because I'm going to talk about things that have already happened in that episode. But it's been years and I feel like anyone watching this who would have wanted to watch it would have probably already watched it. So if you didn't know, in a nutshell, my family, the three main points that they focused on was, actually no, you know what, let me get my family map out. This is actually my family tree. They've had to like get A4 paper and just, look, it goes on and on and on and on and on. So like this thing, as annoying as it is to try and work out how to put it back together again, there we go. When it is out, it's worth reading. And it's something very, very valuable, which is kind of scary that it's just on bits of A4 paper, but I'm sure I can find it online somewhere. So the three main points were, the first one being my 3 times great-grandfather, Albert Pritchard, was a bit of like at the forefront of telecommunications in terms of telegraphs, which obviously as a TV show is great because it's got a correlation between him being at the start of this sort of technological advancement and obviously with what me and my sister do with YouTube being at the sort of, I guess, kind of, was very more so at the forefront of this sort of YouTube movement and social media and stuff. So that was like gold to them. That was like perfect, this makes complete sense. The second one they looked at was going back even further in time to, it was Thomas Pritchard, not Albert, it was Thomas Pritchard. Then it went back to even further to my 5 times great-grandparents, Thomas Le Riche and Marie Sorel. So I found out I had French heritage, which I never knew about, which I thought was really, really cool. It was Jean Sorel Senior and Marie Le Marchand, my 7 times great-grandparents. They managed to go back to that. They could go back further, because they said the name Sorel does allude to red or reddish hair. They thought that my heritage even further back than that could possibly be Viking, which is, I mean, do I look like a Viking? No. I would have been just the one that chases chickens around the courtyard. Don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I found out that I had French heritage, which is really, really cool. I found out they escaped France and went to Jersey and then lived in Jersey, and that's how that all happened. And then the third point was actually on my granddad's side of the family, which was my 10 times great-grandfather, John Austin. He was the one that lived outside London, came to London and became like an amazing goldsmith. I mean, he must have been doing it right for himself because he managed to send his son, Henry Austin, to Eton College back in the day. This is Eton College enrollment note or something like that, which is pretty cool. Where all that wealth went, I'm not too sure. I know a lot of it was debt that he was owed. He made a lot of like jewelry. There's even a thing in here somewhere which I can show you. There was this that shows that John Austin, goldsmith, had 16 hearths, which meant that he was doing all right for himself. He had 16 fireplaces. And then I feel like these here are when he passed away, how much people owed him, I think. No, this can't be it. Diamonds. Yeah, 18 shillings or something. Gold with diamonds, 18. 112 diamonds. So he was doing all right for himself. But there was one story that I did find out that didn't make the cut. We did film it, and I thought it blew my mind completely. We recorded it in Salisbury at the time, in the deanery in Salisbury, because some of my family were based in Salisbury, and someone in my family was, I want to say a vicar, but it's not. What's higher than a vicar? Reverend? I don't know, but he was high from the church in Salisbury, which is pretty good. Pretty good place to be, apparently, back in the old days. But yeah, the story that I came across, I was like, I really want to retell it on my channel, because to me, it was such a good story, but I understood why these other stories that they used came before it. But I was like, I've got to make a video about this, because I find that fascinating and kind of like funny at the same time. And it's just like a weird, not coincidence, but it's just like a weird crossing of paths. So it was the Wopshares, that side of my family. So still my granddad's side of the family, the Wopshare family tree. Some of you actually have already kind of picked up on it, so good on you if you have. So my 5 times great-grandparents in 1813 was William Sanford Wopshare. That's it, he's a minister of St. Thomas Salisbury. He was a man about town, apparently, in the religion world, in the church. But he was married to someone called Cuth Anna Austin. And as soon as I saw the way that was, I mean, the first thing I thought was, what an unusual name, Cuth, as you may have seen in the show. But it was a surname that got me all excited, because I was like, Austin? And spelt like that as well. And I was like, that's interesting, because I've seen that surname before on books by, obviously, Jane Austen. And so then I went to go and meet a Jane Austen expert. I thought, this is it. I am related to Jane Austen. But sorry to pop your balloon. I'm not related to Jane Austen. However, Jane Austen at one point thought that we were related. As in, not me specifically. I wasn't around at that point, because she thought at one point that she may be related to Cuth Austin. Because back in those days, it was harder to know who was actually related to you and who wasn't, believe it or not. Apparently it was quite difficult. So because John Wopshare was doing really well at the church and quite a big, I guess, like kind of like a big deal, and he was married to Cuth, Jane Austen was interested, going, hang on a minute, is Cuth related to us? Because she noticed that an Austen had married into the Wopshare family, and that piqued Jane Austen's interest. So here, in this folder, we have actual letters, obviously not the original ones, but photographs of the letters from Jane Austen. Probably one of the, and if you don't know who Jane Austen is, she's probably one of, if not the most influential, famous authors of history. So here it says 5 times great-grandparents, William Sanford Wopshare and Cuth Anna Austen, 1800 marriage of daughter Mary Wopshare to Thomas Williams, Jane Austen letters. Ooh. I feel a bit guilty doing this. I feel like I'm like reading someone's diary, but I feel like Jane Austen would have done the same thing. I'm sure she'd approve. So this right here is a letter from Jane Austen herself to her cousin, talking about my family. And when I tell you her handwriting is neat, you could tell she was going to go places as a writer, 100%. Look at this. Look how neat that is. Why have we lost that art, you know, of calligraphy like that? You could just tell she was going to do well in life, couldn't you? Look at that. It's a work of art in itself. I couldn't tell you what it says, but luckily it's been transcribed. So I kid you not, this is what the letter says. On the 30th of November in the year 1800, Dear Cassandra, Mrs. Wopshare is a widow with several sons and daughters, a good fortune and a house in Salisbury. Where Miss Wopshare has been for many years a distinguished beauty, she is now 7 or 8 and 20, and though still handsome, less handsome than she has been. And in addition to this, they say she has always been remarkable for the propriety of her behaviour, distinguishingly her far above the general class of town misses and rendering her, of course, very unpopular among them. At Salisbury, the match is considered as certain as near hand. Yours ever, J.A. So on the 30th of November, Jane Austen wrote that to her cousin, Cassandra. I believe it's a cousin. If I can remember correctly, what I think she's saying in this letter is basically, Mrs. Whopshire is a widow with several sons and daughters of a good fortune in a house in Salisbury. So the Whopshires were doing all right for themselves. They were doing good. Where Miss Whopshire has been for many years a distinguished beauty, she is now 7 or 8 and 20. So like 27, 28, which is considered quite old back in those days. And though still handsome, so she was a bit of a looker, less handsome than she has been. She's getting on a bit, I think is what she's trying to say. She's no longer a spring chicken. She's now getting on a bit. And in addition to this, they say she has always been remarkable for the propriety of her behaviour. I don't know what that means. A bit sassy? Who knows? Distinguishing her far above the general class of town misses and rendering her, of course, very unpopular among them. At Salisbury, the match is considered as certain as near hand. At Salisbury, the match is considered as certain as near hand. So, I remember what this is about now. So, she wrote this because she was concerned. Oh, there she is. There's Jane. Basically, what I can remember, and this might be in different orders, is quite confusing. I need to really sit down and go through it. I probably should have before I started this vlog. Jane Austen had a relative that got killed in a horse cart incident. So the guy that this recently deceased relative was married to was an admiral or something high up in the Navy. Very, very handsome, well-respected admiral or something very, very high up in the Navy. He obviously then became a widow, so to speak. And instead of remarrying back into the Austen family, which is very, very important in those days, it really mattered whose family you married into, especially in the higher classes and stuff. It was very, very important to marry into the right families and things. Jane Austen was very adamant that she wanted this admiral to remarry back into the Austen family. However, he wasn't that keen. He fancied my 7 times or something times great grandmother, which is nuts, who was slightly older. This one that she said about her being old and a bit annoying and stuff, that's who he ended up marrying. So he ended up marrying an older lady, which back in those days, once again, very unusual. He liked himself a cougar. But Jane Austen didn't like that. He's got to remarry back into the Austen family. And he didn't want to. He married into the Whopshire side of the family. He married an older lady and they got together and that whole thing happened. And that's why I'm here today. So thank you for that happening. There's loads of letters here, but there's another letter that's been translated for me, which says on the 14th of October, 1813. So this is 13 years after that whole situation. We get a letter to Cassandra again from Jane Austen. 14th of October, my dearest Cassandra, in return for all your matches, I announce that her brother William is going to marry a Miss Austen of a Wiltshire family who say they're related to us. Yours affectionately, Jane Austen. This was the first clip that I read, and that's what got me really, really excited because I was like, oh my God, I'm related to Jane Austen. I thought this was gonna be mega huge news. But the letter coming back confirmed actually no, because she's talking about Couth. I believe she's talking about Couth Austen, I think. Yes. But it turns out there's another letter somewhere that says, no, sorry, we've looked into it, she's not related. And then the final letter that I got on the 9th of February, this is before that. 9th of February, 1813, it reads, to Cassandra Austen, Lady W has taken to her old tricks of ill health again and is sent for a couple of months among her friends. Perhaps she may make them sick, underlined. Yours affectionately, Jane Austen. Now what that means, which is mental, what that means, this is Jane Austen basically slagging off one of her family members in a letter to her cousin. She's referring to Lady W as Lady Whopshire, which is obviously my family. I can't remember who it is in the family timeline, but I believe it's like the older one from around that time. So like the mum of the one that she's trying to get to marry into, or that kind of thing, like the older one, saying that she's always claiming ill health and sent for a couple of months among her friends. Perhaps she make them underline sick. That's like an 1800s version of one of these. Do you know what I mean? Yours very affectionately, J. Austen. So what I was told, and obviously this may be up for interpretation, I'm not claiming that this is fact or anything like that. All this stuff, you know, I've got proof right here, but this is more speculative. They reckon that there's a chance that Jane Austen, from this note here, this may have been part of her inspiration for one of her characters, one of her very, very famous characters in one of her books, Mrs. Bennet. Apparently, I've not seen it. I really should watch it. I can't remember, is it Pride and Prejudice? I believe it's Pride and Prejudice. Mrs. Bennet is an older lady who's always apparently claiming ill health and all that kind of stuff, and a bit of like a bit of a character and not everyone's favorite person. And I mean, reading this, it kind of lines up. If that's not fuel for writing about a character, I don't know what is. You can tell Jane Austen is someone that sort of takes inspiration for characters from people around her. So there's a good chance that Mrs. Bennet is based off of one of my family members. Once again, not saying that that's 100%, but you never know. Could have been. There's loads of writing on these letters. So she talked about a lot more stuff, some of it about my family as well, but I just need to get someone to translate. I can't read her handwriting very well, but there's loads here. But basically, there was a moment in history where Jane Austen thought she was potentially related to my family. There's a potential that one of my family members is the inspiration for one of her iconic characters from her books. But also, I don't think Jane Austen liked our family very much. I think she was quite upset at the fact that this admiral married into the Wopshire family as opposed to marrying back into the Austen family. But yeah, I just thought that was really, really interesting. And I was like, how did that not make the cut? But I understand that the episode has to be a certain amount of time and the other stories probably made more sense. But I just thought I'd share that story with you. I found it really, really fascinating. I love like anything to do with history and just thought it'd be worth sharing. Jane Austen had beef with my family. That's a good title. That's what I want to share. Any questions? I will try my best to answer in the comments below. If you also have any interesting family stories of like crazy stuff like that, please let me know in the comments below, because I love reading through those kind of things. So if you have ever found out anything interesting about your family or your family history, it could be anything, good or bad, if you're willing to share with me and also loads of other random strangers on the internet, then please do down below. I would love to sit there and read through all your family history stories. So with that, I'm going to end today's vlog. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It has been a very, very odd sort of vlog today, but I hope you did still enjoy it. Take care. I'm not a daily vlogmasser. Goodbye.